Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Sea podcast. This is Dennis, as always, solo this time, sadly. So, as to talk about the latest news in and around Olympiacos transfers, the very important draw that came up from the UEFA Europa League earlier today. And in general, to go over everything as briefly as possible and to see how this promised historic European campaign may very well go. So, first things first, before we get into the chaos of the Europa League, let's get into this. We had two completely new turns in our transfer sagas earlier today, and those, as things stand, were both completely unexpected, completely new, and both of them stood to be crazy yet very promising. First things first, we stand at the winger situation where, of course, for days we've been hearing that Olympiacos are trying their best to get the world renowned Swiss winger Ruben Vargas through the door. But after days, it really seems like that's not going to be happening. It really seems like, according to the latest reports at least, even Spanish media is starting to rule out the move, but we'll see. Nothing is officially closed yet. But what definitely is now open, whether that's related or not, is the case of Pablo Garcia. And not the Pablo Garcia of PAOK, a very promising Pablo Garcia. Pablo Garcia Fernandez is a 20-year-old Spanish left-footed right winger who has rapidly risen through the academy ranks at Real Betis to become one of the club's most highly anticipated youth prospects. Pablo Garcia joined the Betis youth setup at just 5 years old after scoring 16 goals across 2 seasons for the reserve team, Betis Deportivo, or in our terms, Betis B. In the Primera, he officially transitioned to the senior squad. In the 24-25 season, he made his official La Liga debut in late January against Mallorca. And in that season, he made 3 senior league appearances while primarily at least being featured in the B team. In the 25-26 season, he became a frequent option from the bench for a manager who we all know by now, Manuel Pellegrini, making 15 La Liga appearances, mostly as a substitute, and appearing 6 times in the UEFA Europa League. Internationally, he had an explosive summer, highlighted by a staggering 4-goal performance for Spain's under-19 side against Germany and appearances with Spain's under-20 and under-21 side. For this current season, he's begun by really solidifying himself as a clutch player, an impact player, most notably scoring an 83rd minute winner on August 25th, just a few days ago, in a 1-0 away victory against Valencia. And of course, the rumors are here The offer is seemingly there, as Olympiacos have seemingly and reportedly offered 9 million for 70% of the players' rights. The deal is expected to be done for a price tag of around 9 to 10 million. So even if it's still early in this case, given the very limited time frame that Olympiacos has, I would be expecting the deal to be done, and I would be expecting the deal to be done by like tomorrow, maybe Sunday after the game. We don't have that much time anymore. So, as things stand, current predictions, I am going to say that we are not gonna get Ruben Vargas as it seems, even though everything can still be on the table. But regarding Pablo Garcia, it really seems like it's gonna happen, according to reports from outside the country specifically. I'd argue the biggest positives that I have personally at least noted down about Pablo Garcia is the fact that he's an energy driven attacker. He can switch between roles behind the striker, which is a perfect thing for Mendiball. And he has an insane work rate and insane willingness to fight for every ball, which will help a lot on the press as well, given he comes. He has as a lethal of a left foot as it gets. He has an elite scoring instinct. Of course, he cuts inside, given he's a left-footed right winger, which is a quality as missing as it gets for Olympiacos. There isn't really anyone that can do that. We had said the same about Ruben Vargas. That's a quality that Olympiacos needs right now, desperately as well. And he's an incredible player to bring off the bench. He's an unbelievable player when you need him. He's not the best defender. He's not the best at tracking back. But I think that immediately connects with the center half that Olympiacos will bring in. So I'm positive. I'm overall very, very positive about the transfer of Pablo Garcia. And honestly, as things stand, we'll see what happens with Ruben Vargas. Now, there is a lot to talk about. Good evening and hello to everyone whose comments I haven't seen. There is a lot to talk about another case in regards to transfers, and it's this one. Yesterday night, of course, as we all have seen, as we've all reported, Marcus Holmgren Pedersen landed in the Eleftherios Venizelos to seemingly finalize his deal with Olympiacos to sign, I'm pretty sure, what would have been a 4-year contract with Olympiacos, and to cover the gap at the right back position. He can play on the left as well a bit, but mainly the right back position. And now, out of nowhere this morning, the doubly ever reliable Italian journalist let me actually check. I completely forgot the name of the second person. I am, of course, talking about Matteo. You all know who I'm talking about, Matteo Moretto. Matteo Moretto and Gianluca Di Marzio both originally reported that Olympiacos are making a very strong push about well-known Fiorentina right back Dodo. and the negotiations with Torino and Marcus Pedersen have completely stalled. Mind you, this is weird because the guy's in Athens. Marcus Pedersen is still in Athens. Marcus Pedersen has passed his medical. The medical happened earlier this morning. He passed it, so there's no problem there. And Marcus Pedersen, with 3 of his representatives, is currently waiting in Athens to see what happens with Fiorentina and Dodo. There was a seeming mix-up with Nottingham Forest in regards to Dodo. Latest reports say that while the English side were interested in Dodo earlier in this window, he's not that high up on the list anymore. So this is reportedly an out-and-out Olympiacos deal. The offer looks to be around 9 to 10 million for Dodo. And it's very possible that in an insane turn of events and in an insane upgrade, the new right back of Olympiacos is going to be Dodo. No clue how we got here. I'll be totally honest with you. Not a singular clue how we got here. But Dodo looks to be the next right back of Olympiacos. Am I mad? Not at all. Like, I'm gonna be dead honest. I wasn't the biggest fan of the signing of Marcus Pedersen. He wasn't as horrid as people said. And I'm all for waiting for people to prove themselves on the field, but it didn't look promising. But now, with the very possible implications of signing Dodo, we're talking about a different level of right back. And then, if Dodo signs, we are talking about an immediate perfect usage of Manolis Saliagas. That right side sounds very promising. Nothing's done, but I am expecting for immediate just updates tonight. Even I don't know if it's gonna happen during the show, but it's definitely gonna happen tonight, as was reported this morning at least. The latest reports said that there is even a big possibility that Dodo does sign and the deal gets done today. It's a massive upgrade. It's an unbelievable upgrade even from what we had last year. So we'll see. It's insane. We'll see what happens. I feel bad for Pedersen. I honestly do. But we'll see what happens. This is an interesting comment that I didn't really touch on. We don't really have to say anything about the price tag of Dodo. We know the guy, he's a proven player. But this question very rightfully points out, is Pablo Garcia worth the 8 million? The supposed offer for Pablo Garcia is 7 plus 2. It will probably be even higher if the deal is to close. I think he's worth it. Yes. We are talking about an insane talent brought up in arguably the third or the fourth best academy in Spain. And we are talking about a 20-year-old that's having an immediate effect in La Liga. I think it's worth 9 to 10 million. And don't get me wrong, same for Dodo. Of course, Dodo is worth the money. But focusing on the talent of the conversation and on the promise of the conversation, I am of the opinion that Pablo Garcia is worth even the 9 to 10 million if the deal gets to that. And this is the absolute perfect segue to what I was looking for. The Europa League draw happened, and it's certainly favourable. I'd argue to say it's favourable. I will tell you my predictions after we're done with everything. But as things stand, apart from maybe Hoffenheim, which is a very unlucky team to draw from pot 4, I would argue we're standing at a very good level. I would argue that Olympiacos can genuinely make top 8 with that draw. Before I get into the draw, though, I do want to talk about the statements that Mr. Marinakis made right after the draw, because a lot of things were said. And I do want to point out a phrase that Mendy said right after. So, to quote Mr. Marinakis, for us, I think it's a good draw. We will definitely face some big teams like Milan, Marseille, and Rennes. But Olympiacos has experienced all these years from European competitions, and I hope that at the end of the transfer window, we will have a very competitive team so that we can advance to the end, as is the goal. As you remember, we had played Milan before and had already qualified. They are a big team, as are Marseille and Rennes. It's a draw where at least 4 teams are big, and we have to be very careful. And 4 other teams that I believe Olympiacos can beat. Since we were out of the Champions League, I believe that Olympiacos has the experience, and by the end of the transfers, we will acquire what the team is missing at the moment. And our dream is to go all the way to the Europa League. To the quote means the Europa League final, or the Europa League trophy, whichever way you want to take it. I believe that we have the players with experience, as well as the coach who has done it in the Europa League and the Conference League. As you know, history repeats itself, so why not? What everyone in Greece needs to understand is that Olympiacos may be a great team, but unfortunately, Greek football is considered to be, as is the reality, in the low positions of the European standings, and whether we like it or not, very good players at a young age are not their first choice to play in the Greek league. People need to understand this because various things are being discussed by people who have no idea how a transfer is made and what happens in European football. I want to tell you this. There is no great player at the ages of 23 to 26 who in June or even July wants to come play football in Greece. That's why we need to wait for the last 2 weeks of the transfers, so that some players who were not able to get a transfer to a top 5 league can come to Greece. Also, Olympiacos has an advantage, that we are the owner of Nottingham Forest, and several players who their dream is to play in the Premier League, which is the best league in Europe, can say that if they play well, they may very well jump ship to Nottingham. For this, I disagree. Respectfully, of course, because I get the point. But I think Olympiacos, given the European prestige that we have built, we have an advantage either way. I get the bridge to the Premier League, but I'd argue that Olympiacos have an advantage over the rest of the league, no matter what, solely for the Conference League alone. Let alone the other insane runs we've done in both the Europa and the Champions League. Where was I? But everyone must understand what our league is and that we are making progress every day. Not only Olympiacos, I sit with other teams and with Panathinaikos and AEK who are trying to make progress. It is not easy anyway. And the fans should not take anything for granted. And this is another part of which I disagree. Here we paid the 16 million clause for Puerta, and he's not coming because he prefers to go to Benfica. For example, what else can you do? Now, I'm not doubting that the player prefers to go to Benfica and the point stands, but as people in Spain have said, the release clause for Gustavo Puerta is more than likely 20 million and not 16. Apart from that, fair point. Honestly, fair point. Olympiacos must play attacking football. Olympiacos must constantly press. You have seen pressing when we won the Conference League. It was the main ingredient of our success. That is pressing, getting the ball, and being able to score an easy goal from your opponent's mistakes. I believe that everyone has understood that we must play differently, and we also have the players who can play differently. They want proper guidance, and I believe that Mendilibar knows better than all of us how to do this. We trust him because a lot is said. We support him. He supports us. And from then on, we move forward together, united to win the championship and win the Europa League. That is the goal. We do not hide it. Today, fewer people may believe it. Tomorrow, more. When everyone believes it, we will do it. I said the same thing in 2010 when I took over. Many others laughed. Others didn't believe it. And then there was another one, another two. And then we were all together. I had also told the kids in the youth league after their first good games, when you have beaten big teams and you didn't beat them by defending, but by playing good football, you can do it. If you believe it, everything is possible. As I said, there are a few things that I slightly disagree with, but I do want to point out the fact that, again, how important that meeting was between Marinakis and Mendilibar. Mendilibar also said that let's go for another one. We've already done it once, so let's go for a very different one. We have to take it step by step. And honestly, you can call me insane, but why not? We thought it impossible back in the Conference League, arguably the toughest Conference League there had been. So why not now? I don't see many teams that can just straight up beat Olympiacos. Yes, there is Juventus. Yes, there is our old friends Bayer Leverkusen. Yes, there is Bournemouth and Sunderland. But aside from those four, I don't really see any team where Olympiacos has to pray to win. And even those are a discussion. So honestly, if the right moves are made, of course, because Mendy isn't Harry Houdini, why not? Why not dream about going all the way? Why not dream about winning a second European title? Because if you will remember back in the Conference League, and for those of you that do not know, Mendy said that this is the first one, but not the last. History does repeat itself in some funny ways sometimes. Going back to the comments, how many transfers do you predict will take place? How many transfers do I predict? Count with me. Right back, maybe even today. Right winger. Center half. Center mid. And left back. I am predicting 4 more transfers at Olympiacos. I know left back isn't mentioned. I know 3 are mentioned. But even if it's an internal transfer at left back, it may very well be happening. So I am saying 4. 4 in a week sounds insane, but I am saying 4. There is also people that still need to go. we'll see. There's a lot that needs to happen in a week regarding transfers. The Conference League win was a perfect example that Olympiacos can play against the odds and go far into the Europa League campaign. Exactly. We beat teams that seemed impossible. For example, Aston Villa. We put 4 past Aston Villa in a game in Villa Park by playing good football, by playing pressing football. That alone, yeah. I didn't mean it as a jab. You know, but you just gave me the perfect example. I disagree with his statement that we shouldn't play with crosses or long balls. He has no right to meddle in the coach's tactics. Instead, he should support him by providing the right squad. Look, yes, your point stands. But I don't think that he meant it like that. I think that Marinakis meant that what happened for these past few months, this rough time, was indeed a mistake. And given that he followed it with, we have a coach who can play like that, we have played like that under this coach and won the Conference League. I think it's another statement of him saying that, yeah, both sides understood the mistakes that were happening and we move forward as one. At least that's how I choose to take it. That's on me, though. That's fully on me. Now, let's get into the final segment of this show. Let's get into the team analysis, shall we? First things first, the old friends that are AC Milan, the old friends that awoke some wonderful memories from that incredible 3-1 victory. AC Milan, who are following a 5th place finish in the last season, are just undergoing insane changes. And some of their best players under right now, Ruben Amorim, are of course Santiago Jimenez. Yes, okay, I got confused for a second. Santiago Jimenez and Gonzalo Ramos. They both came in relatively recently. Gonzalo Ramos being the newest signing from PSG. It's an insane physical true strike force. There is also, of course, the very unlikable Christian Pulisic. Christian Pulisic stands out as probably one of the most consistent players in that Milan squad. He has the ability to play everywhere and he has dangerous passing vision. You can't mention AC Milan without mentioning Mike Maignan, club captain, goalkeeper, very hard to beat, leader, athletic, and a complete anchor for the back line. And this man right here, who I did a bit of research to, is Alfadio Cisse, with Rafa Leao leaving for probably Gala. Alfadio Cisse has emerged as a crucial asset for AC Milan, and he of course scored the opener against Torino. Luka Modric, of course, who has signed and is playing under Ruben Amorim. Mario Gila and Samuel Ricci, of course, some very good reinforcements, and it's a three at the back formation because, of course, it is because it's Amorim and an Italian team. Because there was no doubt. Look, okay, the memes and stuff about Amorim and United, his football fits in Italy. It's not gonna be an easy game, but I am gonna drop my first prediction, and that's gonna be a 2-1 win for Olympiacos in the Karaiskaki. That's gonna be a 2-1 win for Olympiacos in the Karaiskaki. I'm not gonna say scorers, but Milan's a team that Armando Gonzalez can be very effective against, and Ayoub El Kabi can also be very effective against. So our strike force is going to be very, very dangerous as well. Going over some comments that I missed. This is about the statements before. He expressed it respectfully and chose his words more carefully, but he disagrees with the system. He needs to bring in the coach he trusts. I think you mean he needs to believe in the coach he trusts. He does, okay? He does. I know we influence the decision, but he does. We'll see in a week what he brings in for Mendy and how we will move on. But again, if he brings in the right pieces and we keep seeing these different Olympiacos that we saw against Atromitos, everything is going to be swell. I do truly believe that. I want AC Milan in December. So do I. Yeah, I am gonna use this as a segue. I fear Marseille. They are quite strong and love a physical game. I fear Marseille both on and off the field, given their good relationships with the, sadly, Greek defending champions. I fear a lot of refereeing BS as we have seen in the past. Of course, we've beaten Marseille twice. There's not a lot to say about Marseille. It's a well-renowned club in France, one of the best clubs in France. The Velodrome is a scary place to go and play. They have players like, Yuri, a clinical center forward for Marseille. Igor Paixão, the winger, the very highly valued and very dangerous and very quick winger. Of course, the man who was part of a transfer drama this summer, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Quinten Timber, the midfielder, is also someone to point out. Angel Gomez is also someone to point out. And the defender in Leonardo Balerdi. Those are some key players to really point out in regards to Marseille. Marseille, of course, as the comment says, they love a physical game. They play assertive. They play a high-tempo brand of football. They control the midfield with a physical presence and quickly transition into a very lethal attack, more than likely counter-attack. And there's a reason I fear them as well, because I have us losing to Marseille, even with my more positive predictions. I have us losing to Marseille with the score of 1-0. I think we'll lose at the Velodrome, sadly. Yeah, the Velodrome is a terrifying place to visit. Pulisic doesn't play football, he plays soccer. Never say that word in my chat again. Never say that word in my chat again. Haramorim ball from Italy. I'm going to see Ruben Amorim. We're going to see Ruben Amorim coach in the Karaiskaki. I don't want to see Ruben Amorim play at his three at the back ball system in the Karaiskakis. I don't, but will sadly has to. That's why, especially given it's in the Karaiskakis, that's why I think we will actually grab the win against Milan. How can he be the coach at Milan after all he promised Old Trafford that the good days were coming? He didn't mean under him. I can promise you that. Marseille itself is a scary place to visit on a match day. Yeah, the Velodrome, as we said. I have a feeling that they'll win with a penalty similar to the one awarded in the 2021 season. Same. Same exact thing. As I said, I fear Marseille and I respect Marseille as a team, but I fear the refereeing in that game as well. But even if they don't, I still think we will probably take the L in that one, which doesn't change much and is expected, kind of, because then we are going to these guys. This definitely not a team to underestimate, don't get me wrong. But Sparta Prague currently stands fifth in the Czech league with 3 wins, 0 draws, and 2 losses. They have a strong home form, having won 2 out of 2. Their top players, as I've at least noted down, I don't know that much about Sparta Prague, are John Mercando, who leads the attacking contribution with key goals and high offensive involvement, Al Kosser, who is the top scorer in the early league fixtures, Matej Reims, who is a very focal point in the defense and midfield transition with strong defensive ratings, and Irving and Karabek, the midfielders who provide a very, very steady playmaking. I really can't tell you that much more about Sparta Prague. I would need to do my research a bit more, as with the rest of these teams. I can say that they have shown excellent attacking form, averaging 2.4 goals per match and balancing a defensive record of 1.4 goals conceded per match. They have a bad away record, but the game isn't away. Their Champions League qualification got cut short, of course, following a defeat to Lyon. The Lyon that, of course, fell as well in the Europa League. And maybe if I was to point out one more key player for Sparta Prague, it would be Yaroslav Zeleny, the defender who is averaging 3.25 clearances per game. And as for my prediction, I have as that game is at home. What am I saying? That game is in the Karaiskakis. So the away form of the 1 win, 2 losses is very important. Like, for some reason, I mixed the games of pot two. Do forgive me. I have us winning 3-1 against Sparta Prague. It's definitely on the positive side, but I do think we'll get the job done quite easily. Even Darwin Nunez has scored against Sparta Prague. What could go wrong? No slander on my agent of chaos up front. Then we have a game that I am quite unsure in. Stade Rennais or Rennes finished the 25-26 Ligue 1 season in 6th place with 59 points. It's Ari, hi. I didn't expect to see a familiar face. And that's what I said. Listen to the expert. Hormiga scoring against Sparta Prague. I said that Hormiga scoring against Milan as well. But yeah, Hormiga is definitely scoring against Sparta Prague, he will be one of the three, in my opinion. But yeah, as I was saying, Stade Rennais finished the 25-26 Ligue 1 season in 6th place with 59 points, securing their Europa League spot. They had 17 wins, 8 draws, and 9 losses, scoring 59, conceding 50, reaching the round of 16 in the Coupe de France. They had a bit of a manager merry-go-round, ending up with Frank Heijs. I think that's how it's pronounced. Their top goal scorers last season were Esteban Lepol with 20 and Brilliant Bolo with 9. And arguably, the core of this team starts from Bryce Samba, the veteran French international who was a crucial anchor for Rennes. He is considered an elite shot stopper by now. He has strong distributions. And I really don't have to say a lot about Bryce Samba. Valentin Rongier in midfield, the engine of the midfield of Rennes. As mentioned, Esteban Lepol. His work rate, aside from his goal scoring ability, is absolutely insane. And I do want to mention one more name, and that name is Ludovic Blas, an attacking midfielder slash winger. Blas was the primary creative spark in the final third for Rennes. Even when not scoring, his progressive carries, key passes, and versatility across the wings and central midfield unlocked tight opposition defenses. And again, my prediction for Rennes is quite positive. I have said that we're winning 2-0. Now, I know that's very positive, but I do truly believe that we'll do it. Rennes is a weird one because a draw would also be a very fair result, but in a very early month, and again, if the right people come in and if the squad looks as it should, I do truly believe that we are gonna win against Rennes. Perfect segue. I said it when I mentioned the draw, that probably the team to watch out for, aside from Marseille, is Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim is probably the unluckiest draw from pot 4. And of course, we landed with Hoffenheim. One of the toughest and better performing teams in Germany. They finished last season in 5th. They have people like Kramaric. They have people like Aslani. They have people like Lemperle and Promel. A team that is genuinely gunning for Champions League. They have a lot of people to look out for. They have a very tough stadium to go and play at, and they are equally as tough away. And given the game is at Karaiskakis, I do believe that this game is going to be a draw. I have us drawing against Hoffenheim. I've said 2-2, but with German teams, any score is possible. Honestly, I have us drawing with Hoffenheim. And now, to the 3 teams that I am the least familiar with. And let's start with this one. Jagiellonia. Jagiellonia is a team that's coming off a very, very strong campaign, securing third and making the round of 16 of the Conference League. Of course, highlighted by an impressive 4-2 away victory against Fiorentina. Their key performance last season were Afimiko Pululu, the well-known centre forward, Jesus Imaz, Abramovich, and Vital. And their early standouts this season are Sergio Lozano, the midfield, honestly leading the team, Nick Prelec, quickly emerging as their top threat up front, logging 2 goals early in the season, and Taras Romanchuk, the defensive midfielder, the experienced defensive midfielder, the experienced captain, who continues to dominate and kill the midfield completely. In regards to Jagiellonia, I have us getting perhaps a tighter victory than we will, but I have us getting a 1-0 victory against Jagiellonia. Yeah. I saw them playing against Rangers. They are a team that is strong on the counter-attack. I'm worried that we will drop points for a second time in France. We're not losing to Rennes. Let's be honest, we're not losing to Rennes. But it's very possible that we are gonna just go and get a draw against Rennes. I am expecting to win, but a draw is very possible. Next up, a team that I only was familiar with because of Albert Riera, Celje. Celje is navigating a highly competitive 26-27 season under the leadership of head coach Vitor Campellos. They won the title in the previous campaign. They did embark on a thrilling, honestly, qualification campaign. They beat KF Egnatia on penalties. They knocked out Ararat Armenia 3-2 on aggregate, but the Champions League dreams were dashed in the playoffs against Slovan Bratislava. Slovan Bratislava, by the way, who is coached by our own beloved Yaya Toure, who is killing it. He's absolutely killing it. Celje does remain undefeated in the league. They sit in 4th in the standings with 8 points from 4 matches, 2 wins, 2 draws. They secured a 1-0 victory against Olimpia Ljubljana and a commanding 3-1 victory over NAFTA. The key players that I have noted down: Svit Seslar, an attacking playmaker. Seslar has emerged as the club's primarily offensive engine following his 9-goal domestic campaign last year. He currently leads the team in domestic goals, 2, and scored the clinical penalty against Slovan Bratislava in the European finale. Mario Kvesic, the veteran, the 34-year-old maestro, brings composure and elite distribution. Kvesic has been highly efficient in the early stages of the 26-27 campaign, registering 4 goals across all competitions to lead the team's total scoring charts. Again, the difference. Seslar is leading the team domestically. Kvesic has scored the most goals in all competitions. Frelich, the starting goalkeeper, Frelich, I really don't know how to pronounce that yet. He's been exceptional, especially in Europe. He holds the team highest average match rating with an 8.4. And he's kept some very crucial clean sheets domestically for Celje. And the two last that I do want to put down, forgive me for the pronunciation, okay? Artemius Tiskinas, the defender, center back slash left back. The young Lithuanian international is a vital defensive pillar for Celje. Known for his aerial dominance and tactical versatility, he has anchored a backline that concedes an average of just 0.8 goals per game in domestic play. And Yaya Dukulai, the right winger, Dukulai provides blistering pace and directness on the flank. He's an essential asset to Campelius's counter-attacking setup, already chipping in with goals in both league and European qualifiers. Now, as for my prediction, they play in an absolute waterlogged depth of Dante's Inferno. Okay, depending on the conditions, I think we'll win. If the conditions are good, I think we're putting 4 past them. I have us winning 4-0. If the conditions are bad, it may be a 1-goal win. I have us winning 4-0. And now, to slowly finish off, let me catch up with the comments a bit. It reminds me of something. Yeah. Their names are like usernames PlayStation suggests to you. Yeah, Balkan names in general. Like if you look at up names from here as well, people from other countries would say the same. I'm sure. Hello to everyone that's joining even a bit late as we're closing up. I appreciate all of you. And the last team that I do want to talk about is the wonder story of this year's UEFA Europa League and something that's straight out of Football Manager, as we are talking about SC União Torreense, a team that finished the 25-26 season in 3rd place in Liga Portugal 2. This team is a 2nd division side, reaching the promotion playoff final and finishing as a runners-up. Of course, they didn't get promoted. That's why this whole thing is insane. But they are in the Europa League because of their win in the Taça de Portugal final, getting a 2-1 victory over Sporting Club de Portugal. Starting under Vitor Martins, with Luis Tralhao taking over as manager on January 1st, 2026. And in the start of this season, they competed in the Super Cup, barely losing to Porto, just 1-0, and began their new 2nd division campaign. Moussa Dramé finished as their top scorer last season with 8 goals. Manuel Pozo Guerrero, or Manu Pozo for short, crucial attacking threat and key scorer in recent seasons. Danizin, highly active winger and vital component of the starting lineup with heavy appearance counts. Javi Vasquez, a key defender slash left back, contributing heavily in minutes played. Alejandro Alfaro and Adriel Ramos, core impact players in early 2026 figures and overall squad depth. And the last two that I've noted down, this is basically their entire squad, but I had to do a lot of research into them. Lucas Paes and Adriel, who are the main options guarding the goalposts. I have us putting a comfortable 3 past Torreense. It's a 2nd division side. As insane as this sounds, when talking about the Europa League, it's a 2nd division side. I have us putting a comfortable 3 past them, even if it's in Portugal. At least we'll directly fight with a Polish team regarding Greece's coefficient. Yeah, Pana as well. Pana need to get a couple of wins. And sadly, because of PAOK, we don't have everyone in Europe. OFI have a schedule and a half in front of them. Hopefully, they can miracle some results. Even though knowing OFI, they'll somehow make it into the top 24. But it's mostly up to us and Pana, and then Ike in the Champions League, even though I think Ike in the Champions League will do very badly. I think Ike in the Champions League will do very badly. Torreense is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah, same. I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued to see how a second division side will fare in the Europa League. Like, imagine they make it. They won't. But imagine they make it. Imagine they somehow make it. That's gonna be insane. Someone better step up and admit who has his active save on FM with that team. FM, FIFA career, whichever one, it's unbelievable that we're talking about the second division side that we're facing in the Europa League. It's mind blowing. Always want to let the group down. No, as much as I hate to admit it, it's not been PAOK. It's rare that PAOK just let Greece down in Europe. It's a lot to take into, but I do honestly think that we are gonna make it quite comfortably in the top 8. We have to. Yeah, that's a perfect comment. PAOK channel the inner Aris and bottled Europe. It always has to be a team from Thessaloniki. Since it's not Aris, it had to be PAOK. And I'm sorry, but the fact that Sabah has made the Champions League before PAOK is something. is something. And to close off with a good comment, my prediction for Sunday's game, I am gonna stick with the one that I've said and say that Olympiacos are gonna win 1-3 in Tripoli. If it's not raining like waterfall, Olympiacos are gonna win 1-3. And bookmark me, Hormiga scoring. Hormiga scoring a debut goal against Asteras Tripoli. And half of Mexico is gonna be in the Karaiskakis for next year. By the way, can we talk about something? I have been so grateful. Like, I'm on vacation, right? You see the background. This isn't my setup. This is the penultimate show that I'm spending on vacation. The support alone that I've gotten from Hormiga fans is insane. But can we talk about how insane it is that we have Mexican reporters going to Tripoli, of all places? Can we talk about how mad that is? Yeah, but yeah, that's also fair. That's also fair. A 2-0 win is very possible, but I think the Asteras always score some BS. I think they'll score some BS, but I think we'll still win by 2 quite comfortably. Hopefully there's no rain. I'm not gonna put that comment up. Hopefully there's no rain. But yeah, closing off, as we've hit an hour again, I hope you all have enjoyed. I do want to advise you to look out for a podcast coming out, an episode from the Mexi Football Podcast. I was a guest. I had the honor to be a guest early in the day, like recording at 9 a.m. with some of the passionate fan base in the world is insane. But I had the honor to be a guest on an episode to bring attention to Olympiacos, to talk about the history of the club, what it means, how impactful Hormiga can be, to talk about Nery Castillo and somehow Alan Pulido. So I will promote that episode once it's out. Do keep an eye out. And we will be back probably Monday, Sunday or Monday. Either right after the game or Monday, we'll see. For the post game, and then you won't have to put up with this makeshift setup anymore because then I'll be home. And as I said, hopefully, I'll have a big announcement this coming week. Hopefully. Mexican journalist in Tripoli, what universe am I in? It's been a fever dream. Ever since Armando Gonzalez got announced, it's been a fever dream. I did retweet the photo of the media in Tripoli, and you just see like 3-4 sombreros in the crowd. I was in disbelief. I was in absolute disbelief. We have more fans in Mexico than Panathinaikos in Greece. We have more fans in Mexico alone than Panathinaikos has worldwide, not just in Greece. Yeah, exactly. Bringing attention to the Greek League International is wonderful. Same for the team itself. It's been insane. I mean, the site now, aside from the insane social media work that I don't think we've ever seen, the site now, the Olympiacos site, has an option for it to be displayed in Spanish. They put an option for the Olympiacos site to be displayed in Spanish before they put an option for the Olympiacos site to be displayed in English. That alone says enough. And that's how we're going to close up. Thank you all so much. I hope we kept you good company. I hope we have solved some of your questions regarding our Europa League opponents. Of course, before every match, we'll try and get a pre-game with someone who knows more about the team. I'm sure it will be quite easier this year. And again, thank you all. I do want to say that if all goes well, aside from the personal announcement, on Wednesday, we are going to have a special guest on the Red Sea podcast. I don't know if it will be a Chronicles episode or it will just be a normal talk and it will be a special guest on it. We'll see. But if scheduling goes well, we'll have a dear friend of the show on, a perfect representation of Olympiacos. That has to do with the Mexican community. I think you all know what I'm talking about by now. And on Friday, again, if all goes well, I am going to be a guest on another podcast. I will give you all the details once everything is settled. So next week is going to be busy. There is also the cup game on Wednesday. So we will probably combine the guest with that. So probably the post game on Wednesday will have a special guest. Bring Mendy on the podcast. I wish. The moment that I am able to get interviews with players and stuff is the moment the content is going to go up 10,000 levels. That I can promise you. And hopefully, without saying too much to not burn myself, hopefully that's soon. Very soon. And with that mysterious method, I'll disappear. Your support is insane. And you all, as a community, mean the world and then some to me. As always, I'll see you soon. Thank you.